Hello, everybody. Glad to be with you again. Just wanted to first share some scriptures with you. Proverbs chapter 28, verse 6. Better the poor whose walk is blameless than the rich whose ways are perverse. And then verse 11 of Proverbs 28. The rich are wise in their own eyes. One who is poor and discerning sees how deluded they are. And then in verse 20 of chapter 28, a faithful person will be richly blessed, but one eager to get rich will not go unpunished. So, as you can see, the common theme in these verses is, it's better to not have a lot of material things. Better not to have a lot of riches, because when we have a lot of money in life, it's not to say that having a lot is wrong, but the more we have, often we're tempted to want more and more and more. And there's some wealthy people that do very well. The title of this devotion is Grateful, Faithful, and Generous. And I picked this after this past Wednesday morning, our men's Bible study at church. We were going through Proverbs 28, and I picked these verses out that just really spoke to me. And it's not that having a lot of wealth is wrong in itself. There are many wealthy people in the world that manage their money very well, are very giving, are very generous. It's all about the heart attitude and how we are going about things, what we're chasing after in life. For myself, throughout the years, I'll be very transparent. I've really struggled with finances. Not that my family has been in trouble financially a lot, but just inward in my heart, I've found myself comparing. I found myself comparing my life to other people who have more, wishing that I had what they had, being jealous of it, envious, and that is just a wrong heart attitude to have. And when we desire more, when we want more, it never satisfies. Now, it's not to say that if we see something somebody else has and we're like, oh, that looks kind of cool, I'd like to have that someday. It's just all in our heart attitude and our motive. And if we're seeing things right and left and we're like, I gotta have that, I gotta have that, I gotta have that, I need that, then we're just working, and we're desiring more, and it's just a never-ending vicious cycle. And what I've discovered, just reading these passages, and we were in our men's study, I felt like God was showing me and telling me, Zach, I want you to be grateful for what I've given to you. And after you're great, you have that attitude of gratefulness. I want you to be faithful with what I've given to you. And then I want you to be generous. And, this is hard for a lot of us because we want to be generous. We want to give. We want to bless others. But when things are tight, it's hard for us to go, oh, I really don't have the resources to give other people. But if we're grateful for what we have, for what we've been giving, we're faithful with it, budgeting, whatever, just being very responsible with our resources, then God's going to give us opportunities to be generous. And we can't be reluctant in that. We need to be very generous in our hearts. We need to find, opportunities. It's not always monetary, maybe just making something for somebody or spending time with them. But a lot of us focus on the financial part of our lives, and it's easy to look at what other people have, and we get greedy, and we want more, and it just never ends. And in this passage, these passages, especially chapter verse 6 says, better the poor whose walk is blameless than the rich whose ways are perverse. So it's not saying that we need to be dirt poor, sell everything, and not have any money at all. Not saying that. It's, people that don't have a lot. They live very simply. And that's something that my family and I have been trying to do in the past years. We sold our house that we had years ago. We moved to an apartment. We downsized. And we just wanted to be much more faithful with our resources. and not have a lot as far as material possessions at home, and we're renting, and we just wanted to really downsize and have get rid of the stuff that we didn't need. And I, in my heart, as I leading my family, I want to be grateful, faithful, and I want to be generous. Um, I don't want to long for things all the time and wish that I had more. God is calling me to be a very faithful person. He wants me to be grateful. He wants me to be faithful, and He wants me to be generous. So I just want to challenge all of us to take on this attitude that God showed me. Um, we need to be grateful. We need to be faithful. We need to be generous. And if we're having that attitude of gratefulness, we're not going to chase so much after the things that the other people have. Doesn't mean we can't want things, but it needs to be in moderation. We can want things, we can desire things, but we need to pray that God gives us a heart that is grateful and faithful. And then, above all, being generous, looking for ways that we can bless others. So I just pray and hope that you've been blessed by this, just by what I've shared from my own heart, my own experiences. God bless you, and be grateful, be faithful, and be generous with what God has given. Take care.